So today, on today's episode, I'm actually doing an interview with Joanna Albrecht, and it was a fantastic interview. It was amazing. But I made a little oopsie and forgot to hit the record button in the beginning when I introduced her. So it just dives right in, the recording does. So I wanted to really quickly introduce her here, so that you know who she is and what we're talking about. Joanna is an intuitive empath, a world traveler, and an author. She is the owner of Unfolding Love, and you can find her at unfoldinglove.com. She's the author of the book Moving On and Letting Go, A Guide to Loving Yourself. And she is the creator of the podcast, The New Superheroes, What's Your Superpower? And you can also find her podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and at thenewsuperheroes.com. She is fantastic. We talk about everything, energy, healing, and relationships. And I literally could have talked to Joanna for like hours. So this is a really fun, high vibe interview, and it just goes straight to Joanna telling you about herself and her background. So I hope you all enjoy.
Different teachers, studying with different people to learn all about the ins and outs of energy work. And what I figured out is that everybody has a superpower. Everybody's got this superpower that they just don't know what it is. And so some people tap in to the energetic life force through feeling. Some people feel energy, some people see it, some people smell it, some people taste it. And it shows up in the body in different ways. So people who are really sensitive to energy and maybe want to help people, but they want to help people by taking on their thoughts and feelings and emotions so that the other person doesn't feel bad. Sometimes it gets stuck in the body. And so I actually help people to go inside of their body into those places that are heavy and stuck and to release them. And so that shows up a lot in relationships. And I went through a lot of challenging relationships and figured out the energetics of them, why I was attracting these challenging relationships, and why it was so hard to let go of them. Once I figured out it was unhealthy, but it felt like, oh my God, like I can't let go of this thing. How do I do that? And so I figured out a way to teach people how to let go of unhealthy relationships, the energy that they take on from other people, whether it be, well, we're always in a relationship, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So whatever unhealthy relationship is in your life, I teach you how to unravel that and then come back into your body fully and completely.
That's amazing. So I love that, because I'm definitely like in a similar thing. Like I definitely realized like a lot of the stuff that you realized and how it's like really hard to let go. So can you tell us like just a little bit about like or like even just like give a little tool or whatever of like how you do that, just a snippet of that? I would love to.
Yeah, definitely. And I went into it a bit on my latest podcast, The New Superheroes. And it's about energy cords. It's about a lot of things, but when we meet someone for the first time, what happens is energetically we send out this connection to them. And so it's almost like a USB cable that we plug into the computer. And so we hook into them, and then we can download information. Like it's downloading and uploading information. It's downloading and uploading energy. And it can actually feel really amazing when you tap into somebody who is resonant with your energy. Like it just kind of amplifies your energy, and you're like, oh my God, like this is amazing. I love this.
Yes.
It's kind of like drugs. And so when you get into relationship, you know, sometimes it's really great and we're giving and exchanging energy, but sometimes there comes an imbalance where one person's giving more than the other person, or we're giving in order to receive. And yet the more we give, the less we receive. And that actually has to do with something else. It's all interrelated, but I also work with people's chakras. And when, a little side note, when you're giving and hoping to receive, if you give more and more and more, what's actually happening is there is an imbalance in the chakras. So we have our chakra system that opens up in the front, and then we have chakra system that opens up at the back. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't realize that there's these rear chakras where we receive energy. Mm-hmm. And so when you're an overgiver, you've got this overgiving chakra that's like giving, but the back is atrophied. And so I teach people how to kind of open up that rear aspect of the chakra so that you can start to receive again. Because even if someone wanted to give you, right?
Yeah. So you're open in the front and you're shut down in the back, which I heard somewhere, I think I read this or somebody told me, like, the back part of your chakras is related to your will, and then the front part is related to I guess like what you're talking about, like giving. So if you're not aligned with your own will, then you've got that shut down, and you're giving from this place of sort of like an unwilling place, like you're unwilling to give, but you're still forcing yourself to give. So it's like
I think you're unwilling to receive.
Yeah.
That's because people are
aligned with that.
Give. Right. People are willing to give, but not a lot of people. It's fascinating because and I know it because I've lived it, and I've been an overgiver and thought, if I just give a little more, they're going to give me back all this love. They're going to see how wonderful I am, and they're going to want to give back to me. Yeah. But if your rear chakras are closed and shut down, it's just going to bounce right off of you because you're not open. You're not open to receive that energy. Mm-hmm. And so it's interesting about energetic systems because everybody's got their taste and flavor of what they mean and what they do, mm-hmm. and they're all right. They're all correct. Yeah,
that's really true.
Right? And so some people don't talk about those rear chakras, and so it doesn't appear in their world. And so whoever decided the back chakras were the will, they have a whole other system going on. So I'm not sure about that. For me, I know when I work with people, it's about receiving, like receiving your power, receiving love, receiving insight. So all about receiving. And when those rear chakras are closed, there's an imbalance in there. Yeah. So that's what I figured out. But I'm sure the other stuff works too.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I just know that was something I heard. I was like, wow, that's interesting, because I've been researching the chakras for like 7 years, and I work with mine all the time. And I've also noticed, like how you're talking about, like with the cords, whenever I do like a cord cutting meditation, I will always see where the cord is within a chakra. Like that's where it's always going to be related. So I'll know, like, oh, I have this cord in my sacral chakra, or I have this cord in my heart chakra, or whatever, like, and I'll know like exactly where it is, what it looks like, what's happening. And sometimes what a lot of people don't realize is that when you have cords with other people, sometimes it's like tons of them. You know what I mean? Like it's not just like one. Like if you're like really tapping into your energy, you will automatically see it. Like it'll be there, you know, and you'll be like, oh, this is happening. But it's always related to the specific chakras. So
totally. Yeah. And then when I work with people, I go through the chakras and look at the energy and the cords and stuff, just because it's easier.
Yeah.
Because there's a map, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like right. That's very good. Yeah.
I have a fascinating, you'll probably love this. So I used to cut cords, right? Because that's what they teach you, like cut them. And what I realized is that if you cut the cord, there's actually an end that's hanging out that wants to attach to something. And until you figure out what to do with that end, it's going to want to attach to whoever, maybe that person again, or you'll be like spurting energy out, like you'll be so right. So what I imagine is when we reach out to someone with that cord, their hands kind of interlink with ours and we're both holding on to it.
Okay.
And so when I go in to release the cord, I kind of just settle into it and unravel the fingers. And then I ask for a guide to take this hand back to the person that it belongs to. And then I take this hand and I put it back in, and I give myself the energy that I was getting from that other person. And I ask their guides to give them whatever energy that they need. And in that way, it's gentle, it's loving. And when I used to like cut cords, the energy would come back as intensely as I cut it.
Gotcha.
And I was like, oh, karma. Oh, yeah. Like, you know, because you're just learning. We're all here learning together, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I love that, because I love that it is more gentle, and it's like in a very loving, you know, a very loving, peaceful way. Like, I'm going to let you have your energy back, and I'm going to take my energy back, and we're just going to, you know, do it that way. So that's really cool. That's awesome, Joanna.
And those cords are fascinating because, so what I was talking about in my podcast is I was trying to talk about cords, and I was trying to record this podcast for a couple days, and I was starting and stopping, and I was like, what's the deal? And I got a call from one of my ex-boyfriends, and all of a sudden, like, and I had released him a long time ago, and hadn't heard from him in a while, and all of a sudden, all of these feelings started flooding my body, and I was like, oh, well, I know this is a red flag parade, but, you know, this could probably work. I'm like, oh, yeah. And I got off the phone with him, and I was like, oh, no. And so I released the energy, released the cords again, and came back into my body, and I was like, how fascinating. Like, before I would think, oh, you know, I want to feel these feelings so bad that it's okay.
Yeah.
And then I decided, you know what? Once you release the cord and the energy, you don't have those intense feelings. You don't have that roller coaster, you know? And so that's why it's important to release cords. Like, people don't want to release the cords because they don't want to release that intense energy and connection, and then think, oh my God, like, I'm never going to feel this again.
Yeah.
And you will, but it'll just be healthier. And you won't go crazy.
Like, it gives you space to sort of, like you said, like, come back to yourself, and really think about, like, what you want. You know what I mean? Because, like, sometimes we think we want something, but we're not clear on it. Like, we're not clear on what we really want. Yeah, we want the feelings, but do we want, like, those feelings with that person when we know that it's, like, not necessarily, like, a healthy thing? You know what I mean? So
right. It's like, we think that those feelings mean that person is our one true soulmate, and we have to, like, make it work no matter what. And I've been in a lot of them. I didn't know I had so many one true soulmates in my lifetime, but here they all came. And what I realized is, even if you're telepathic with someone, even if you have these amazing feelings with them, even if, like, they bring you to the next level spiritually, it doesn't mean that their personality is compatible with you as a life partner this lifetime. And that is something I really want people to get. You know what I mean? Because people are trying to make it work with the wrong person just because they have those feelings. And I want them to know, like, that's not what that means.
People that are here to prepare you. Like, that's what I noticed in my own life. Like, I've been in a lot of toxic and abusive relationships that at one point I thought, like, this person is my soulmate or whatever. You know what I mean? But deep down, I knew that wasn't true. And, like, if you're really honest with yourself, if you really know yourself and you're really honest with yourself, you're going to know. Because, like, when I look back on it now, I'm like, my intuition knew that these people were here to help me. These people were here to help me grow, and I was there to help them grow. But I was never, like, fully committed to these relationships. And why is that? I had one foot out the door the whole time because I couldn't fully, like, engaged. Like I had those feelings and I felt those feelings and I was very, very attached, but I wasn't like fully in it. Like I wasn't fully committed to it. And there was a reason for that. And it was because those people were there to help me grow and prepare me for the love that was going to be the one that I was going to be able to commit to, like the actual one, you know what I mean? So it's funny. And of course, like 2020 vision when you look back or whatever, but.
I saw this meme the other day. It said, remember those people that we never thought we'd get over? LOL.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, oh yeah. Because you think, oh my God, like I can never let go of this person.
Yeah.
But once the cord is gone and the energy is released, there's no drama, there's no intensity. It's just yeah.
Really amazing. That's really important, I think, too. Like very, very important. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your book though? Like I wanna get a copy. I just haven't had a chance to yet, but I want to know. Tell me all about it.
Right. So the book came about, relationships and energetic relationships have been kind of my theme this lifetime. And after this one relationship, I thought, this is my soulmate. We're going to be together forever. And then it didn't work out. I was like, I cannot believe that I'm in this place again. I'm like, this sucks. I'm like, I gave away all my power, all my energy, all my love, and it's not working out. I'm going to write a book about all the techniques that I use to get from feeling super disempowered to full of self-love and self-worth again, because I had gone through it so many times. And like we were talking about before, the chakra system is a really great way to kind of have steps and gauge where you're at in the energetic process. Yeah. And so I take people through their chakra system to release the cords and release the energy and the core beliefs of why we get stuck in these relationships and what's keeping us there and how to clear it out so that we can come back into our body. Because a lot of times we take on all this energy from these other people because it feels so good, right? In the moment, we're like, oh God, like these feelings, yeah. I was saying the other day, I'm like, I've never done heroin, but I bet this is what it feels like. It's so good. And, but once you're able to release the energy and the cords, you feel peaceful in your body again. You feel whole, you feel complete. But going through the breakup process, it's like there comes this time just before you let go of the cords or their energy, like, I can't do it, no way, I have to hold on to this. What if I never feel love like this again? What if this is my true person and I'm giving it up and all this stuff? But having faith and actually like releasing that cord, you realize how much freedom there is in non-attachment, right? And always like, so the Buddhists talk about attachment leads to pain and suffering, and I never wanted to believe it. I was like, no, love.
Well, attachment and love, I think that's the thing, because I was the same way. Like when a huge part of my spiritual journey was definitely was Buddhism. Like that's like what I've always gravitated towards since I was a child. And but when I read the thing about attachment, I was like, and I think what they mean, because the Buddhists say things in like funny ways, and sometimes it's really hard to understand. You have to really dive deep into your soul to really get it. But I think what it is really is that attachment isn't love. And we associate attachment with love. Like that's what we do. And it takes away from the freedom of what love is. And there's this thing in our egos or however that works, where attachment is love. And so we think that if we are letting go of the attachment, we are letting go of the love. And what I realized is that like every person that I've ever been with, no matter how much they hurt me, like when I was able to let go of that attachment, I realized like I still love that person. Like I still care about that person. I'm just not like attached to them. You know what I mean? It's two different things. And then I was like, Oh, that's what they're talking about.
Right? Yeah. Once I realized that attachment was an actual thing, I was
Yeah.
like, this is the thing they're talking about. Like, they never talk, like, you just think it's a concept, right? You're like, oh, attachment, like whatever that etheric thing is, that what that means. But when you realize it's an actual cord attaching to another person, and it does cause pain and suffering, and I didn't want to believe it, and because it feels so freaking good, but when until it doesn't, right?
Yeah, until it doesn't. Exactly. Yeah.
But that's what I teach people. Like, once you release that cord, like, there is no pain, there is no suffering, and that goes across the board to our attachment to what our ideals are, attachment to who we think we should be, attachment to a job, attachment to a thing. You know, I was reading a long time ago about little kids, like like toddlers. When you take a toy away from them, they'll cry and scream like, oh my God, you're ripping something away from me. It's because they actually have an attachment. Like, they throw a cord out into that thing, and when you take it away, it's like they actually feel it,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But the thing about kids that's so amazing, and something that I've definitely learned from my daughter, is that it's so easy to just sort of replace that. You can just be like, here, use this instead. And they're like, okay, and they totally forgot about the other thing. So they may attach to stuff, but they're easily, like the attachment isn't like as sticky as like it is when we get older. Like, it becomes very like that sticky feeling. And with kids, they don't have that. Like, they have an initial attachment, but they very easily are able to get over it. And so that's like an important lesson to learn. It's like, I think everybody's going to have attachment to something, like, one way or the other. You know what I mean? We're always going to go through that. I think that's just part of life. But you can let go of it. And I love, like, the tools that you share, because that's really what it is. I mean, it's like, here it is. You can let go of this. It is a tangible, real energetic thing. And here's how you can let go of it. You know what I mean? That's, like, so amazing.
And the thing is, and it goes back to what you were saying before, it's like, when you do let go of that cord, you can actually experience the love. And that love without the attachment is so much more pure, and coming from a place of actual purity and from the heart. When there's an attachment, the love is kind of coming with expectation. It's coming with I'm loving you, but I expect something from you.
It's more,
what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if you love someone without the attachment and just allow them to be them and you're you, it's so much more of a freedom love than the attached love. I know, man, it's it's interesting though. Like, I think we think that attachment and that connection, it's almost like a leash. You think that person's going to be with you if you, like, hold on to them, but the more you hold on to them,
it feels too. I think that that's why so many relationships get in trouble and end up not working out, because at a certain point you do feel like you're on a leash. Like, the man feels that way and the woman feels that way. There's all these rules that come up. There's all these things, like, you should be, like, expectations, like you're saying, you should be doing this or you should be doing that, or whatever the case is. And then, you end up feeling like you're on a leash. There's even an expression, and this is just so bad, like the ball and chain expression, right? Like, that's like literally like a well-known joke that people make about marriage. That's not okay. It's not how our relationship should be at all.
But that's it. It's like, so once that cord is attached, we decide that that person is part of us. And so the reason why we're so hard on that person is we're like, well, if you're not doing this, this, and that, that reflects bad on me because you're part of me now. And so you need to do these things because you're part of me. Also, you are now my energetic battery, and I replaced source energy with your energy. So you need to give me all of the energy that you can and all the love you can 24/7, because now that's your job as my partner, because that's what I decided.
Yeah.
But that is societally okay.
Mm-hmm. No, that's literally how we're raised to believe. And the thing is that that's like a pure reflection of your relationship with yourself and with God or the divine or spirit or whatever you want to call it. Like, that's a pure reflection of that, because if you're putting that kind of expectation on another person in that way, that's what you're doing to yourself. You are just taking everything that you do to yourself and you're putting it on the other person. And of course, they're not going to like that. And then they're doing the same thing to you, and you're not going to like that. And it ends up very toxic. You know what I mean? And it's yeah.
I do. And I saw it when I was in the beginning of writing my book. I was noticing, like, my partner we were still talking. And I told him, I'm like, I'm writing this book because now I know, like, we were having kind of a long distance relationship. And I think we both, in the end, knew it wasn't gonna work out, but I just, like, his energy was so beautiful and so pure, and I was like, oh, I don't want this to end.
Yeah.
So we would have these great talks and stuff, but what I noticed is that when I focused into my crown chakra, my energy was going this way instead of straight up. And I was like, where's it going? Oh, it's going to him. I'm like, oh, I replaced him. Like, I replaced source with his energy.
Yeah.
And so it was like, oh, dang, okay. That's why it seems like when people are going through breakups, they feel like they want to die. They feel like they're disconnected from the universe or source or like the whole world, because they feel that if they lose this connection, they're losing their connection to divinity.
Yeah.
And so once you can release that and then reconnect to your source and reconnect to your own grounding, because people ground into each other all the time too. You know, when you look at things in an energetic way, it's kind of nuts. Like, you don't realize the background, like what's going on behind the scenes energetically. Mm-hmm. But once you can release all that stuff, you're like, oh, I feel like myself again. I feel like whole and complete, and you know, so that's what I wanted to share with people, because I went through it so many times, and I was just like, what the heck's going on? Like, why again?
Yeah. Why? That's what I kept asking myself too. Finally, I was like, no, I'm done with this. I'm going to figure it out, you know? And I sat down and like wrote out every relationship I ever had. It took a long time. And I just went through and looked for the pattern. And then that's how I was able to figure out, oh, like this all started in childhood. And this is what I've been repeating over and over and over in all my relationships. And this is where this limiting belief is. And I can see it here, here, and here. And I was just able to see all the patterns and all the cycles, and you know, and I still have them, like a lot of them, because I did all that work while I was single for like the past, I don't know, it was over a span of a couple of years, and then I felt like really complete about it. But I was single, and I was like, I'm just going to keep going on this path, and I wasn't expecting to date anybody, and then I guess I was ready, because out of nowhere last year, you know, God brings this amazing person in my life who, honestly, like I had already dated like 4 or 5 years ago, but I couldn't hold space for that relationship. I was not prepared. And then he just, bam, comes right back into my life out of nowhere. And so, but now that I'm in this relationship, I have all these emotional triggers come up, and I'm seeing like, but I'm aware of it. And that's what makes it so cool, is because I've never been in a relationship where I'm like, I have this awareness of myself. I have this awareness of my limiting beliefs and my patterns. And so then I'm triggered, and I'm like, oh, I know what this is, and I have more work to do here. You know what I mean? So it's like an empowering thing. And that's why I'm like so big on, you've got to know who you are. Like, you've got to know what you want, and you've got to know who you are, so that you can have fulfilling relationships with other people, bottom line. Because they're going to reflect you, and you have to you have to be aware enough of yourself to work through that, you know?
Right.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you do a lot of your personal work a lot and a lot more than when you were
day. Like,
right?
girl, every day. Like, so, and every month something new comes up where I'm like, oh, you know, I'm triggered.
but now you're not blaming him for it, and I think that's key, because people want to blame their partners for everything, and
yeah, I can take responsibility for it and be like, and I think sometimes, like, initially that is still my initial reaction. Like, it's your fault, but I know. I'm like, no. I know it's not. I know this is me, okay? This is all stuff that's been going on since day one with Katie, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's great to have that awareness and have the tools that, you know I can use to, like, work through this stuff. You know, I'm a highly emotional person, so I'm like, you know, all over the place with it. And I know I'm just gonna be that way. Like, I'm emotional, I get emotional about stuff, but I've got the tools that I need to, like, work through this stuff. So it makes a big difference, a huge difference.
he must
get your book because it sounds freaking amazing. I love it.
You know, let me tell you. So there's an audiobook. I suggest the audiobook because it's got a lot of meditations and clearings in there.
Okay.
But and since writing the book, like, I've been in and out of a couple different relationships, and I would listen to that book because because I was like, why do I feel so sad right now? And then I'm listening to the book and I'm like, oh yeah, that.
That's awesome. So it's like your own tool for healing, like, whenever you need it. That's fantastic.
That's why I wrote it. Like, I wrote it for me, but I realized, like, everybody needs these tools. Everybody needs to, like, when they're going through these hard times and these attachments and this, like, intense emotions and feelings, we need to know why is this happening? Mm-hmm. And it all comes back to, like, coming back within. Mm-hmm. Like, if I feel, since doing this work, I am never lonely. Yeah. I'm never sad and lonely. And I used to be, and I used to reach out for people. Mm-hmm. And I would want to call someone or, like, reach out for someone. And what I eventually realized is that I wasn't looking for someone else to connect with. I was actually looking to reconnect with myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And every time.
Yeah.
Because, right? And it's like, you can connect in with other people, and maybe they'll make you feel good. And maybe they won't. Mm-hmm. Maybe they'll be available, maybe they won't. But in the end, what they do is they hold space enough for you to feel safe so that you can reconnect to yourself or divine source or whatever that is. And that's the hugest gift. Yeah. Because when we look to our partners to do that for us, they're going to eventually, you know, get busy. they're gonna have to go to the bathroom sometime. Yeah. Like, they're gonna have to take their own time. Yeah. And they weren't born to be your energetic battery, right? Yeah.
And it's so much pressure, you know, on them and on the relationship. And then it's a lot of pressure on ourselves too. I mean, because what you do to another, you do to yourself, bottom line. So if you're putting pressure and expectation on another person, you're only doing that to yourself, and you're only going to feel that same way, however you're making them feel. So
absolutely. Yeah. And it was, there was this one part of my life when I was just like, you know what, okay, maybe I do want to call in a partner, but in order to do that, I need to practice what it feels like to give and receive this amount of love that I have. Because I was like, I have too much love. I flow too much love to my partners and they get overwhelmed. And so what I eventually ended up doing, someone's calling me and my my computer's all freaking out. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Good. So when oh yeah, right. Okay. So I would send energy up to divine source, and then divine source would send energy back down to me. But instead of like it being like fully God, I was studying at the time Saint Germain and the Violet Flame. Do you know about that?
Yes. Yeah, I
Okay.
read Human Aura like 5 times. We talk about that there. Yeah.
Nice. So like, there's a really weird way that I came upon this. Actually, it was I had lived in what do you call it, Australia for a while, and I went through this crazy relationship. And when I came back, I was trying to reestablish like who I was and what I was doing. And somebody gave me a huge stack of the new Doctor Who series. And so for days and weeks, I was watching this series again and again. Like, I was watching all these episodes, and I was like, why am I watching this show? Like, what is the deal with this? Like, it was like I would wake up in the morning and just watch all these things. And then so I Googled, I said, okay, the real Doctor Who. And it actually turns out like it was patterned after this David Tennant character was patterned after Saint Germain. And Saint Germain was a real person.
Uh-huh.
Like, you can you can go back and you can read about how he shows up in different places and all this stuff. The funniest thing that I remember was I guess when Jesus was like carrying his cross to the crucifixion, he comes out of the crowd and he goes, "Hey, could you hurry it up? Like, I got things to do." and Jesus looks over him, he goes, "I'll be seeing you later." And I was like, oh my God, like, who is this guy? And so I was like, whoa. And so I started reading about the I Am Presence and the Violet Flame and what that was. And so I would connect up to the I Am Presence, which is like kind of above your head. And what I realized is this is kind of the translator for God energy. It's like the personality translator for like all of creation energy. You tap into that and it like translates it for you. And so I was like, interesting. So I was like, okay, is this Saint Germain? Is this Jesus? Like, what is this? And I ended up just calling it my divine lover, because it's whatever opposite gender feeling you are. So if you're a woman, it's more masculine. If you're a man, it's more feminine, or like whatever that is, regardless of what your actual gender is, whatever you kind of associate it with, it's kind of the complement to that.
Right.
So I would tap into it, and I made a love playlist, and I would sing songs to it, and it would like send me back down. So it was this constant communication with this divine lover that I had. And I was living as though I was living in the best relationship of my life. And so that love was always there for me. And I was able to focus all of my intense feelings and my intense love that I needed to get out on that divine lover, and it would send it back down to me. And so it was a great experience of unconditional love.
Yeah, that's amazing and beautiful. I love that. I absolutely love that.
Right? And when you're in that feeling, that's when you attract in that exact mate. You know what I mean? So it's
exactly.
Like,
yes.
And that's what I love about your story. You're like, I wasn't really looking for someone, and I was full and complete within myself. I'm like, yep, that's, everybody says that's when it happens.
Yeah. When you're least expecting it, you know what I'm saying? But it's I don't know. I love that. I love that it happens that way. And I love that, like, there's certain things that are just kind of out of our control. Like, you do what you need to do. You take responsibility for your life. But I really believe that God brings things into our lives when like God knows that it's the time. You're not necessarily going to know that. You're going to think like it should be now, or I don't want it till later. And then, it's going to happen however it happens. You know what I mean? So
it's so true. It's so true. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm leaving it. I'm just focused on my work right now. It's funny because I'm at that place where I'm like, I just want to focus on my work, and I'm loving being on my own and being single, and it's awesome, super. And in the back of my head, I'm like, yeah, that's what it happens.
Yep.
So I'm like, all right, well, you know, I'm just gonna focus on this and not think about it right now.
Yeah, that's a good place to be. Like, you got to do you, you know? Like, that's where it is. That's where it's at. All right,
I love your comfiness over there.
Huh?
All your fluffiness. I love it.
Oh, yeah. I always have all the fluffiness, always. All right, so real quick, okay, so your podcast, The New Superheroes, I tried to find it on my podcast player, but I couldn't find it. So is it on iTunes? And
It is now.
okay.
It is now. So I think I'm going to actually create like a little what to do if you want to start a podcast, because I ran into all sorts of interesting things that I didn't realize. Like when you press publish, it doesn't really publish right away.
Yeah, and it depends on like who you're going through, and then you have to manually put it on Google Play, iTunes, Spotify, all that stuff. So there's like a whole lot that goes into it, like for sure.
Only the first time, and then after the first time, I think it happens. But yeah, the first one's a learning curve, isn't it? But it's up now. It's up. It's on iTunes now. It's on Spotify. It goes to my YouTube channel.
Okay.
And it automatically goes up to my New Superheroes page on Facebook, my Facebook page.
Okay. I'll have to look.
Yeah, it goes to lots of
people. I liked your page, so I'll look for it there. And then just tell us real quick, like, where people can find you and your website and all of that stuff.
Right. So the website is thenewsuperheroes.com. The website's The New Superheroes, and you can go there. I'm doing monthly or Monday miracle meditations where people can come online. I do a Zoom call with everybody, and I will take people through the chakra system to release all of the energy that doesn't belong to them and put them back into their body. And we have a different subject every time.
And that's Mondays at what time?
Mondays at 7.
What's your time zone?
Oh, 7 Central.
7 Central. Okay, sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm in Illinois.
7 p.m. Central or a.m.?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who wants to wake up that early?
All right. Thank you so much for doing this with me.